Video 2. Alright, so just like my Christmas gifts, I had every intention of doing this when I said I was going to do it. My excuse for my Christmas gifts is there are actually 12 days to Christmas, so if I give you a gift on the 9th day of Christmas, still technically a Christmas gift. And the excuse for my video is, am I really a YouTuber? I've made one video that was basically me venting to the internet. I didn't expect any of you to actually watch it, much less comment it and encourage me. Anyway, thank you. I really did not expect anybody to see that video. You know, I don't know the algorithm or search engine optimization or any of that jazz. So the fact that I got any views, let alone the very supportive comments that I did, was incredible. To recap my last video, I essentially got on the internet about how I didn't know what I was doing, where I was going, what I wanted to do in any part of my life. It turns out that's not an original feeling, and many of you felt the same way I do. I accomplished both missions of that last video, which was to help other people. There are plenty of us feeling this feeling of directionlessness, and help myself. So I kind of ended the last video talking about how, while I didn't really know what I wanted to do or where I wanted to go, I knew what the good habits were. So after that video, the company I work for had its end of the year party. Despite my venting and directionlessness, for all of my struggles with knowing exactly what I'm doing, where I'm going, I did have a fantastic year in my job. My territory revenue grew by over 25%. I got recognized in front of the company. I got a bunch of gift cards to Tractor Supply. That's where we were handing out gift cards to this year. Very Nashville of us. And that was great. That was cool to see, you know, despite what I felt like was a relatively unfocused year for me, to still do as well as I did in my job. In the last video I mentioned, if nothing else, I know I can do the work. And that whole week was fantastic. Every salesperson from the company came in, all our warehouse managers, and we've built something really good with this company. There are a lot of great people here. And so it's pretty much impossible to not be happy when I am surrounded by people that I enjoy working with. That whole first week of December was great. Now fast forward to the, I guess, second weekend of December, flat on my face. All the things that I sat here and talked about in the last video, exercise, diet, celibacy, and my relationship, right out the window. That Friday really through Tuesday, because I'm fortunate enough to work in a job where I can work from home, which also means I can not work from home. I don't know what the rules for cursing are on YouTube, but I didn't do jack squat. I went backwards. I quit the diet. I quit going to church. All the things that I said I should do, just didn't do them. I got to Tuesday because I was a jack wagon and was just angry. Not isn't even the right word. I'll sound like a disappointed parent. I wasn't mad. I was just disappointed in myself, which is a disgusting feeling. Because I made that video, it blew up last week, and I saw all the support that y'all poured out there. I was feeling very encouraged. Muck it all up that next weekend, right back in the place that had me despairingly making that video. And here's the thing. My life is great. It is. I have a loving, supporting family. I have fantastic friends. I've got a girl that loves me. I've got my degrees. I am, I'm set. I don't have trauma or major hardships in my life. I am so blessed and fortunate to be where I am today. And don't get me wrong, there is a lot of hard work that has put me where I am today, but there's also a loving and supporting family and other factors that recognize that other people don't have. And there's just no excuse for me to be struggling. So got to Tuesday, and at that point I was like, what's next? I made the video talking about how I got to do the things, and then I didn't do them. Now what? Of course, back to confession, back to church, you got to hop back on the horse. Some of you may be familiar with 75 Hard. I've started that. So right here is my little meter for 75 Hard. In response to me being angry at myself, on the 11th, I started 75 Hard. Read 10 pages a day, 2 45-minute workouts a day. One has to be outdoors. Drink a gallon of water and follow a diet. They're not specific on the diet. In my case, it's just completely organic and a progress picture each day. And no alcohol. No drinking, no sweets. So those things, while pretty basic, it's actually quite hard to do that 75 days in a row. I've tried 75 Hard one other time. I failed on like day 64. Not quite my fault. I ended up in the hospital. There's that, but I've never actually finished it. And having those basic things each day, at the end of the day, at least I can make sure I get my 75 Hard done. So today's day 12. I may not have figured out my career or my relationship or what I'm doing, how my retirement fund or politics or how gotten to my goal weight. But I could do the 75 hard disciplines each day. And like I said in the last video, things will get incrementally better by doing the small things. I thought making that YouTube video was my major breakthrough. And especially after the support I got, I thought, well, hell yeah, now I've got a community behind me in addition to my friends and family. Flat on my face, like I said. There's nothing for it. There's no pity party to be had. There's no major change for me to implement unless I'm missing something. And if that's the case, please tell me. Other than to just get back on the horse. The previous weekend, I went back to Knoxville, Tennessee, where I had worked my engineering job. And I was there for so many fantastic reasons. My best friend got his PhD. I actually missed his hooding ceremony. But I was there for the little celebration after. My goddaughter had her first confession, so I got to be there for her for that and give her a gift. Some old friends of mine from my engineering job were running a race. I got to cheer them on, get lunch with them after, catch up. And then my old rugby team out in Knoxville, shout out to the Possums, had their end of the year party, and I got to go to that and see so many of my good friends. It makes me miss playing rugby. And then finally, to end the weekend, I came back to Nashville, got to take part in my old high school choir. I was surrounded by a bunch of people from different chapters of my life. Best friend since 8th grade, his daughter, my goddaughter, old work friends that I made in my last job, then my high school friends. I love people. I'm an extrovert, if you haven't picked up on that. I am energized by good people. And I knew that. That's what I loved about college and what I hated about engineering. It was awesome to get such a high dose, if you will, all these different people from different chapters of my life of the last 12 years. One of my friends mentioned that in trying to discern your path in life, it is helpful to look at what you are good at. That is, examine your talents. In my case, I love being around good people. I am a charismatic, outgoing, extroverted person. Obviously, my career, my vocation should be oriented in that direction. I'm not called to be a hermit, is what I'm saying. I also really enjoy learning new things. For example, in college, my junior year, I decided I wanted to dance ballet. I have never, up until that point in my life, taken any sort of formal dance lessons, and just showed up to a ballet studio, asked if I could dance. There aren't very many men in that industry, so they were more than happy to teach me. But you want to talk about an uncomfortable situation? Jumping off the deep end into that world, every day was uncomfortable. I mean, these girls had been dancing for a decade plus, some of them even closer to 2 decades. That was the most uncomfortable I'd ever been in my life up until that point. Put in that room with all these amazing dancers and just had to figure it out. That culminated in me earning the role of Nutcracker Prince in Cookville's Nutcracker production. It's nothing big. It was so uncomfortable and so expanding. I mean, I learned so much and had to grow in so many areas. I could have no pride in there. I'm in tights and a dancer belt. If you don't know what a dancer belt is, look that up. Looking like a total buffoon trying to follow their footwork. But obviously I got good enough to have my role in that production. All that to say, I love learning new things and stretching my mind, and I love people, and so I should continue to orient my hobbies, my career, my free time in that direction. And I would encourage you all, for those of you that feel this sort of directionless like I do, take a look at what you enjoy in the past year and the past 5 years and apply what you know were good things and good experiences, distill it down to what you knew you enjoyed about them, and look for those things in your life. And I would encourage everyone to try something just totally foreign to them. It's so uncomfortable and it's fantastic. I know that sounds like some people's nightmare, but the growth that doing something completely alien to you will bring is amazing. Ballet is an example. Another one would be learning a new language. Like italki.com, for example. You can pay people like $12 an hour to have hour-long language conversations. That's also very uncomfortable. But it's fantastic. It's a great way to grow. So have I figured out my career, my relationship, where I will be this time next year? Nope. But I know what I enjoy. I know what makes me happy. And I know what the good things are. Since the last video, I followed my own advice, and then I straight up didn't follow my own advice. And that's it, That probably, if we look at my past, will happen again. What's next? Well, exactly what I said is next. Explore the things that I know I love and enjoy. Slug on through 75 hard. Continue being with my people, my friends. Have another great year in sales. And I want to focus on making time for the new things. As the holidays come to an end, I would like to sit down between now and 8 days from now when 2025 starts and set up my goals for next year and try to approach things with a disciplined and planned approach. Not necessarily knowing where I will be at the end of the year, but at least some milestones that are obvious. Physical milestones, sales milestones. Let me know any advice that you have as far as planning goals. Let me know advice you have as far as looking at your gifts to determine vocation and your path in life, and anything else you want to talk about. I will see y'all in the comments.